All right, welcome to camp. Hope your journey here was safe and eventful in a good way. And this will be one of hopefully many long rest stories that we get to discuss and talk about over time. I think for now, we're going to start with something a little more simple. It doesn't mean the story has a beginning, doesn't mean it has an end. It could just turn into the ramblings of an old man. But I think I would like to regale you of stories, today, anyways, of a paladin and dragons. Wrong. There'll be a couple paladins and dragons. And with that, that gets into one of the main characters. Wow, main characters of our story. Nothing is set in stone. This main character, we'll call him Clover, was a farm boy on an island. He raised cattle. He was strong. And over time, hearing stories about how his father was a paladin and how adventuring could be fun, he decided his life needed more meaning. And out of the pureness of his heart, he made an oath to Pelor. And with that oath sent him down a road of adventure and into the depths of chaos. He ends up in a situation as to where there's so much going on and he's trying to make sense of it and keep his morals in line and keep his ethics in line and keep those he cares about safe. By those, I mean his companions are now traveling with him. And what happens is he does eventually have to come home. Don't we all at some point eventually end up right back where we started? And for him, when this happens, he ends up going through a portal that results in him being in his family's barn. And as he's in this barn, he overhears a voice he's very familiar with to be his father's soul, and another voice. As he peeks through the slats in the barn, trying to see who and what his father is speaking to, he finds out that it's a giant blue dragon. And it doesn't make any sense. I mean, there shouldn't be any dragons in this area, and he's never seen one. And but this dragon's speaking to his father as if his father and this dragon know each other. The dragon's telling him that he's so close, that Soul, Clover's father, is so close to breaking his oath. And if he is to honor that oath, he will do and keep his end of the bargain. Now, to outside ears, I would argue that that sounded like more of a pact, not an oath. But that is something we can get into here shortly. As Clover and his companions leave the barn to figure out what is going on here, the blue dragon looks over at him, looks back at his father, and he says, "You lied. Did not you say your child was here no more? What brings him here, I wonder?" Well, as I've come to this conclusion now, that you are not a man of your word, I'll take something of importance until my child can be fed. And the blue dragon ends up flying off. It ends up actually flying towards the manor of the homestead, farm, house area. And Clover's father is just screaming and screaming, and it's chaos. He starts running off that way. Clover doesn't get a chance to really figure out what's going on. And as Clover and his companions run towards the farm, the homestead, he they get there just in time to see that there's some injured. No one has died, but there's multiple injuries, and a dragon, that same blue dragon, is lifting up off of his family's house, and in his claws there lies his mother. Well, that makes things a bit complicated because right now you've got supposedly a paladin, another paladin, Clover, who is not really sure what's going on, so what to do and so forth. And Soul looks at him and goes, I don't have a lot of time to explain, but here is what I can say. Your oath to Pelor is so much more pure than the oath that I took to that beast that flew away with your mother. Way back many, many years ago, before you were born, I tried to save my village and your mother's village, and it wasn't going well. So I made an oath to this dragon to keep him contained where he was at by giving an oath of protection to him. I vowed that I would keep him safe, keep him fed, and no harm would come to him and he would want for nothing, on the conditioning that I'm the one that brings it to him and he has to stay in an area, was my thinking anyways. Well, the dragon had agreed to this oath. Now, that does sound a lot like a pact, but where it varies is nothing in return was given. And it was purely on his father's side. The lines get blurred and a little hazy there, but so be it as the story is told. I come to find out, though, that the reason why the dragon is angry is due to the fairy that was sent to feed, to bring the cattle, was wrecked by the sea. As in this exact moment of time, Umberlee's not being so happy and thrilled about a few things, so the Wave Mother is just wrecking ships left and right. Any who do not pay penance to her must die. Gotta love the chaos, right? Now, as they progress and they go through and they're learning more and more about this dragon, what needs to happen, where its lair is, Clover's father says, do me this. Go to the ferry docks. I will meet you there shortly. And together, we will go get your mother back. And if your companions do so wish, please, please, I beg of them, to help us out in this. There are so many harpies along this route now, ever since the destruction of that last ferry. But I will bring the cattle. With you and your companions' help, we can get to this dragon. We can get in there and save your mother. Just in essence, of course. Well, as they progress down to the ferry, they end up being attacked by what I could only describe as waterlogged ghouls. Not quite dead, not quite alive, wet undead. And the Clover and his companions, they obviously can handle that just fine. It goes quite well, actually. And his father shows up eventually with cattle. And when he shows up, though, there is armor about his father. It's a armor that is freshly shined, a sword on his back. The sword has the head of a dragon. His chest plate has a dragon's head on it. And they board the ferry, get it all going. And they have to contend and fight with these harpies that seem to drag on for hours, but in all reality, it was but minutes. And as they finally approach the islands, smaller island of these, where the dragon's lair is, it's just desolate lands. Everything's been scorched and wrecked and decaying. There's a mound. Everything's flat except for one mound in the center. And in the center of this mound, there can be seen entrance to a cave. So our adventurers decide to enter the cave, obviously, but they leave the cattle behind. Many checks were made, many perceptions made, but a medicine check wasn't taken. One action, the one medicine check, just one. could have potentially changed the whole fate of our heroes. But instead, no one thought to do that. Clover's father gave a nice little pat to a cattle, and they progressed without the cattle for the short time. Into the cave, down into the lair of the dragon. And as they achieved where this dragon's lair is, sitting in a cage was his mother. And there was the massive blue dragon with its oh so freshly born, not more than a couple days old, baby dragon. And the baby dragon goes to eat one of them, and the bigger dragon says, "No, let's not play that game. We are being betrayed apparently right now. I thought you, good sir, had stated that you would bring me food. Are these adventurers food? You would sacrifice your own son? Or where is my cattle?" And Soul responds, for a lack of a better term, of free my wife and I will have them bring you the cattle. And this is a deal between you and I. My oath to you to protect you and yours will stay complete. And in that moment, just a glimmer, a glimpse, there's a sheen of red that flashes across Soul's eyes. Well, the dragon does not agree so lightly. The mother stays in the cage. But a couple cattle get brought down. And Soul says, there is more to come. Let your child eat. Eat yourself. Let me free my wife. Well, the big dragon doesn't hold back its child from consuming both cattle. And as it's consuming that second cow, that baby seizes, lurches, starts to puke, and collapses. And in that moment, an aura of hate encompasses Soul. Clover's father has just broken his oath, and enraged, he goes and attacks with every smite he can at its full power into this dragon. Now, I will not say this was a easy fight. No, Clover and his companions had much to contend with in this, and it was a long and bloodied fight. But in the end, with Clover on this dragon's back, sending his swords over and over into the neck and head of this dragon, finally it sinks into his skull, and he grabs his sickle from his youth, from farming and cutting the wheat, slams it into the side of its head, right at the eye, and rips it on through. And in that moment, that dragon fell. And as it died, it tried to mutter a curse, but it seized and collapsed. We freed, of course, the mother, but a problem ensues, for the father is now an oathbreaker. Of lies I've been told. How can anyone trust him now? Is he still a good man because he broke his oath for a righteous reason, because his family was taken and a deal broken? Or is he just untrustworthy and evil? Well, the father swears to redeem himself. Father swears that he shall make a new oath, and when that oath is met, he will come back and he will be there as a new oath of protection shall be made upon his redemption to save and protect his family. And he tells his son that if you and your companions ever have need, I will come running. Just needs to work on himself a little bit. But, don't we all? Anyways, that is a shortened, longer story, if you will. Some details given, some details not. If there is anything else you'd like to know about this story or any other stories that you might think that might have under my belt, because I have many in my journeys, let me know. Comment down below, and we shall have conversation around all of these adventures, and maybe some adventures from campaigns lost, maybe some from my youth, maybe some that some of you may be here watching may know from your own lives as well. Anyways, I appreciate you making it this far, sitting here in this long rest, and having these stories be heard. Thank you, and I will see you at the next camp.